This gecko here is kind of insane and requires some backstory to better understand what he's been through. So from 2017 to 2019, me and a friend would go on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, anywhere that people like to sell stuff locally, and we would look for different reptile keywords. And anytime we'd find an animal, we would go either take it for free or buy it or whatever. And then if it was sick or had issues, we'd rehabilitate it the best we could and then find a new home for it. And so now, since I do have so many inquiries of animals coming in, I don't really actively seek them out anymore, but I've had this leopard gecko for so long that he's actually from that era of the Craigslist pickups. And if you want to watch those videos, we filmed like all of them, so you can check out my vlog series where we did that for a few years ago. I still like to watch them. It was this gecko and a second one. I don't think they were related, but I'm not actually sure. And a guy said he had to get rid of them. When we met up in person, it was just some random townhouse, nothing weird. And the geckos looked okay. They were pretty on the thin side, but they were probably just being underfed, fed the wrong thing. Somewhat common with leopard geckos. Wasn't a big deal, and he said he was selling them because the government made him pay taxes twice by accident, or he accidentally paid his federal taxes twice. I still don't understand that, but basically he needed some cash. So he sold both of his leopard geckos for 40 bucks, and I was pleased. I got 2 geckos. He said they were from a reptile show. It's actually a show that I've been to. So we were on our way, did a few more pickups the same trip. It was a few hours away, so on the way back we got some more animals, and they were almost all just fine, and they were pretty easy to find new homes for. But we got stuck with this leopard gecko and another because they just would not gain weight. The first thing I do when I get a thin gecko is just try and feed it and see if it eats. If it's underweight, you can give it some fattier insects, whether it's waxworms, hornworms, along with some dubia roaches or like other more healthy insects, and most of the time they just gain. But if they don't, it's possible that there's other issues. For example, they could be parasitic. Parasitic animals normally are only wild caught in my experience because they were in the wild at some point and they were just eating bugs, which oftentimes have parasites because parasites are also in the wild along with bugs. When captive bred animals normally get raised on captive bred insects that are super healthy. So that's why it's weird when a captive bred animal has parasites, because they also don't really, it's not like parasites are airborne. Like say this gecko is parasitic and it touches another, it's not gonna catch it like that way. It actually has to ingest like its fecal matter or something. So basically it's weird that captive bred animals get parasites, but they do. I would say most often it's because somebody fed the animal a wild insect. Like they caught a cricket and gave it to it, and then those little bugs inside of them start munching away. And they don't really actually hurt the animal, they just eat and take the nutrients from the gecko as it's growing. Also, if you spend time watching stuff, which you probably do since you're watching this video, you'd probably enjoy Curiosity Stream just as much, who's sponsoring this video. It's basically a Netflix or Hulu that makes your brain bigger as you binge the shows, and I would argue a lot of the shows are better. I started watching Doug to the Rescue, which just premiered, about a dude who saves the non-human victims of hurricanes, mostly using infrared technology and drones. But Curiosity Stream has thousands of other streamable documentaries and non-fiction TV shows on topics like history, nature, science, food, tech, travel, pretty much everything that's interesting. And if you use my code or my link in the description, you can get an entire year of streaming for $14.99. You get a pretty nice deal, and you get to watch a lot of award-winning shows, and it supports the channel at the same time. So I appreciate if you use my link, but now I'll get back to my little non-human animal, this skinny leopard gecko. So you can literally just get over-the-counter meds like on Amazon that you can just give to geckos or any reptile, and it's perfectly safe as long as you follow the instructions and everything. And this has worked for me multiple times with animals, but we treated both geckos and they were both still extremely thin, and they were actually still losing weight, which was concerning. So I went to a vet for this. Normally I only use vets if I need something prescribed or if I need an x-ray or a fecal test or whatever. And so they were getting to the point where I was like, all right, what we're doing isn't working, let's take them. And so we did. And I can't actually find the documentation, but I'm pretty sure the fecal came back positive with parasites. And I do know for sure that they gave us a prescription for a stronger, more specific parasite medication. That's just oral, it's just a little liquid. You feed it to them with a syringe. It's easy to see they consumed it, they don't really spit it out or anything, and that will then kill those parasites. They pass the dead parasites, and they start actually gaining weight because they were eating a ton. They had great appetites, they were happy, and aside from being super skinny, looked healthy. clear eyes, clear mouth, and a respiratory infection. No deformities like all the other common things that I see. It was just a very bad case of parasites, I guess. So we did that treatment and they still didn't gain weight, which was kind of weird because they were still eating and they were so energetic. Like normally if an animal becomes malnourished, they might be more lethargic. They don't have as much energy. They start just using less energy to conserve it so that they don't die more quickly. But these were happy and jumping all over the place and they just kept losing weight. And so we did a second round later of parasite medications. Now, honestly, I don't know a ton as to whether they're like, say, antibiotics, where if you keep taking the same antibiotic or something, your whatever it is will build a tolerance to it and not be affected. I don't know if this is the case with parasite meds, but the problem is treating a reptile for parasites, that's kind of all you can do. You can't give it an injection for parasites. You can't give it a diet of like little angrier parasites that ate those parasites. You're just kind of stuck with the parasite meds and hope that they work. Again, this is weird because I don't know how old the geckos were when the guy from Craigslist bought them, but they weren't extremely small. They were probably at least a year old. And so I don't get at what point they got the parasites, because if that was truly the only issue, I assume it would be the guy himself if they were perfectly fine being sold at the show, because they would have looked worse sooner. So either way, they were still losing weight. They were treated basically 3 times from myself and other help and a veterinarian with prescriptions and stuff that I've used in the past. And unfortunately, the other gecko did not survive. It eventually just got so thin, but it was still eating. It was actually the most upset I've been from a gecko dying. It sucked to watch because it was this happy, well, okay, it probably wasn't happy. It also wasn't healthy. It was what could have been a happy, healthy gecko that had so much energy, that was so easy to handle, that was all around just a perfect gecko, aside from the fact that it literally could not gain weight. I guess I share something in common with these animals. The difference is I am still alive, like this one. So this one, however, was actually gaining a bit of weight finally, but it's been 2 years now and it's still underweight. Like this is like the average underweight gecko I get in. It's like, okay, it's pretty underweight, we should be good in a few weeks or a few months and it should be up to weight. But no, it's been over 2 years, probably like 28 months or something, and he's still not gaining weight. Do you know how many bugs this thing has eaten? But yeah, so basically the other one died, which really sucked, and I was like, oh god, is the other one gonna die too now? These geckos, of course, they were kept away from the others and everything, but they were just chilling in like basically a closet of a room. They had their setups and everything, and he still looks totally healthy, but thin. Yeah, honestly, at this point, it's still kind of a mystery. If you have any ideas, feel free to drop them in the comments, but basically this one is very gradually gaining, and he's lost a little bit here and gained a little bit there. It's just a very bizarre case. So I haven't had him tested for parasites since the last prescription, so I can't confirm whether or not he actually has them, but I would say at this point he most likely does not. And I feel like there has to be some sort of other issue aside from parasites in the case of both of these, because what kind of crazy aggressive parasite would that be? And so there is something called sticktail in leopard geckos, which I don't know a ton about. I actually just pulled up an article because I know so little about it and I've never had to deal with it. And that might be what came to mind with it. And it's caused by an intestinal infection. So it's basically a bacteria and it's not a parasite. When we went into the vet the very first time, we kind of expected them to have sticktail, but they did more internal tests than we usually do with animals, and everything came back perfectly. It was literally just, well, I guess they have parasites, and so that's gonna be it. So sticktail is a lot worse, and thankfully I haven't had to deal with it. And in a way, it gets bad so quickly that can kind of be a good thing, because say in my case, I can see before an animal comes in if it does have that sticktail or not. But he doesn't. His tail's not a stick. It's like a branch. It's in between a stick and a log, something like that. But that's the gecko. 2 years of feeding him over and over, treating him, which seems to not even be related because he still gains and loses weight occasionally. It's a weird fluke, and there's really only so much I can say about it. We've taken in over 100 leopard geckos now, almost all of which went perfectly, and I would say less than 10 of which had parasites, and only 2 of which took years to get better. Well, I guess 1 of which, since the other one I'm guessing that one died, I think, a bit over a year ago. So it probably survived 6 to 8 months with us, and then this one has been longer. So I don't expect this one to die now. I don't want to sell him right now in this because I still don't know what's going on, but he is technically getting closer, and maybe in 1 month we'll see a lot of progress, maybe 6 months, maybe 1 or 2 years. I mean, who knows? He could get a lot worse and we could have to try and do other stuff, or he could instantly get better. It'll be a mystery. But that's that. I just wanted to share this leopard gecko that has been with us for so long because it's taken longer than any other animal. It's really weird, and it's a new experience. So hopefully it won't happen again, but now we have an idea of kind of what to do if it does. Just keep feeding it and keep treating it and hope for the best. Yeah, if you want to check out the pickup videos I did with other animals, or if you want to see other leopard gecko videos, just look on my channel, I guess. I don't know. I normally link like one video, but you might be interested in all of them. So just go watch all of them 3 times. Thank you very much. That'll be it for this video. I'm Alex, and thanks for watching.